So another supposed leak is getting about on 4chan about Assassin's Creed, and when I say it came from 4chan, it means it literally could have come from anywhere. So before we get talking about this one, please do take it all with a pinch of salt. There are supposed images in this, but believe me when I say anything can be faked at this point in this day and age, so don't take it as evidence that it's real. So this rumour is essentially about Assassin's Creed quote-unquote Ragnarok, which is apparently going to be the actual name for Assassin's Creed Kingdom. So if you don't know, Kingdom is the code name for the next Assassin's Creed game, which according to Kotaku is going to be set in a Viking-like era. Well, this rumour that's appeared on 4chan is saying that the actual name will be Ragnarok, and that's just about where this supposed leak lost me, because it just doesn't seem fitting for how Assassin's Creed subtitles tend to work. Barring Black Flag and, if you want to push it, Odyssey, no Assassin's Creed subtitle has ever suggested a setting before, and even then Odyssey doesn't really, so it's only really Black Flag that's ever done that. That's why I think that might be nonsense. Anyways, let's read what this supposed leak has to tell us, and then we'll look at these supposedly leaked images, which So here's what this rumour says. Assassin's Creed, codenamed Kingdom, planned to come cross-generation in 2020. Now that makes sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be true, and that this supposed leak just guessed it. As rumours of the next generation being on the horizon have been high for quite some time now, and with information releasing all the time, I wouldn't be surprised if by 2020 that generation is ready to release. Actual name is Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. Now, I can't buy into that name in any way whatsoever. I believe that the subtitle for an Assassin's Creed game would be a lot more subtle than Ragnarok. Don't ask me what I think the actual name would be, I just know that it will be a lot more subtle than that. Main character is an ally of Ragnar Lodbrok and aids in the formation of the Great Heathen Army. Now usually it's the more detailed leaks that turn out to be the fake ones, so I don't buy into that for a second. A lot of them just tell us it's set in this setting here, in this era, but doesn't tell us the historical events that happen. The map is split into several kingdoms encompassing all of Great Britain, Denmark, Sweden, Norway and Finland. Now that just seems too massive to be true. I mean, Ubisoft are notorious for making massive empty worlds, but even for Ubisoft that sounds like too big of an undertaking, so I don't think it'll be anywhere near that big. I don't know anything about the next generation. For all we know, it can handle that, but it's just a case of, can Ubisoft be bothered filling an open world that big with stuff worth doing? It just doesn't seem practical for a game released 2 years after the last one. A game that I'd imagine only really entered full development at the launch of Assassin's Creed Origins in 2017. Kingdoms are split into regions that can hold settlements. Settlements have some customization and in-game economy systems. I can buy into that, that's fair enough. Large-scale conquest battles return and can be used to weaken enemy hold on regions and parts of the story. I mean, I don't not believe that. Player does become an assassin and uses the hidden blade. Now, that makes sense as well. It's an Assassin's Creed game after all. You're telling us nothing that we don't already know. I'd imagine this game being set after Origins would include actual assassins, though I'd imagine the thing that makes me not believe this is the use of the word assassins, when in reality they'd probably still be called the hidden ones around this time. First Civ lore is a bit less than Odyssey, finding a vault and Mjolnir. I have no idea what to make of that. I don't really care. Like I said, with the more details in these supposed leaks, the more likely it is to be fake. Game is developed primarily by Montreal, that's what we all assumed, so that could just be the supposed rumours assuming as well. Creative director is Ashraf Ismail. Darby McDevitt is the narrative director. Now, I don't think Darby McDevitt is working on Assassin's Creed anymore. I think he's on to another project. But Ashraf Ismail is now a creative director, probably on the next Assassin's Creed game. And Darby is in fact a narrative director on something. What? We don't know. Ubisoft Sophia is assisting, but is planning on creating a DLC set in Iceland and using Yggdrasil to move across the 9 realms. I have no idea what that means. Like I said, when it comes to extra details, when they start talking about DLC afterwards and things, that's just loads of padding on this supposed leak that makes me think that it could be fake. Co-op is returning, yep, that's bullshit. I think at this point Ubisoft have come to terms with the fact that Assassin's Creed isn't intended for multiplayer. Apparently RPG mechanics, the Eagle and ship combat are all returning. Now Vikings didn't really use ships in combat, so that strikes me as a whole lot of nonsense, as they only really used ships to get from A to B. Ship combat is toned down to focus more on exploration. Now I have no idea what that actually means. How does toned down naval combat actually help you focus on exploring? It just doesn't seem related. Game is more focused on exploration, removing question marks on the map and making players want to explore locations for better loot, like Breath of the Wild. I can buy into the idea of Ubisoft removing question marks from the next Assassin's Creed, but at the same time I like them to also remove just looking for loot all over the place, because it kind of gets a bit boring. We don't want to explore the world for loot, we want to explore the world for experiences. I'm sure that at least Ashraf Ismail and his team would understand that. Larger emphasis on build and armor usage, that could mean literally anything, and the player has the ability to change outfits on the fly, which can speed up or slow down notoriety build up in different kingdoms and stop sheriffs coming after you. And that last point just doesn't make sense. As you can tell, I don't really buy into a lot of that. I find that when it comes to leaks and rumours, as I've mentioned like twice, the less detail you give away, the more believable it is, as it's a lot broader. So when it comes to things like the actual subtitle of the game, specific historical events that you'll experience, places that you can go to, map size, things like that, it all starts to just become a lot of padding to make something seem believable and have substance to it, when in reality it actually doesn't. Well, you're probably about to say, yeah, well, the substance isn't in the information, it's in the images that comes with it, and, well, we're about to debunk those too. Now, although you might be sold by them, I have a few points to make about them. Now, these images look like shit, for one. So the images look like some form of alpha build, except at this point in development you'd expect it to look a little bit better. There was a leak for Assassin's Creed Origins which looked quite similar, to be fair, though it was just one image and not lots of them. And to think somebody went into Ubisoft under NDA and took these pictures on their phone over and over again while being showed this and didn't get caught, it just seems a bit absurd. That's not to say they're fake, but I'm just saying it just seems too much to be true. And you're probably wondering, if they're not Assassin's Creed and these are fake, then where did people get them from? Well, in the history of Assassin's Creed leaks, which is quite the expanding tapestry of shit, this stuff has happened before. I believe the last one was before Assassin's Creed Odyssey was announced, in which somebody was testing their skills in making a world or generating a world, and they did it in the style of Assassin's Creed. Somebody took these from an ArtStation profile or something, and then adjusted them slightly and put them in a fake leak, saying that these were screenshots from the next Assassin's Creed game. And these reminded me more of that than they actually did of Assassin's Creed Origins getting that leaked image in which Bayek was stood in front of a tomb, which looked a lot more complete than these do. So I'd say these images are fake, or they've been taken out of context in order to falsify a... Is falsify even a word? Yeah, falsify is a word. So these could have been taken from anywhere in order to falsify this supposed Assassin's Creed leak, because Assassin's Creed just gets leaks all the time, and a lot of people are more than happy to just buy them at face value. Obviously these images did come from somewhere, and I do wonder where, but I don't think that they're actually from the next Assassin's Creed game, and if they are, then they're very, very old. And probably wouldn't represent the final build of this game whatsoever anyway, though we do know that it probably will be Vikings or Norse or whatever you want to call it, considering that Kotaku reported on it, and usually they know what they're talking about with this stuff. And that is a point, Kotaku hasn't mentioned this at all, and it's been out more or less all day. Usually they'd be on it by now if it was real. So in my mind, this supposed rumour / leak is probably fake. I don't see it being real somehow. If you do believe it's real, let me know your reasoning there. Obviously take it all with a pinch of salt, as it's just a rumour at this point and those images don't seem to mean anything. But in all my years of looking at Assassin's Creed leaks, I know how to identify the real ones from the fake ones, and this one does look like a fake one. And if you think it would take a lot of skill to fake something like that, well, I know the kid who faked this one, and believe me, he's as thick as they come. So though it would take some know-how to do something like this, believe me, some people are not above doing it. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if these are just screenshots from RuneScape or the Elder Scrolls Online or something. As like I said, they had to come from somewhere, I just don't believe that it's necessarily Assassin's Creed. Apparently it's only just a modded version of Mountain Blade Warbrand, so... oh dear. So on that note, it's more than certainly fake, so there you go, there's the answer at the end of it. So thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff, and I will see you all very soon with another video at some point.